It was really intimidating. I had no idea what I was doing.
Welcome to Game Theory, gaming's tangential learning experience. On this, our inaugural episode, we'll be looking at one of my all-time favorite RPGs, Chrono Trigger.
At the time, Stephanie and I were looking at other gaming shows to see what was popular. So we were watching shows like Extra Credits on Escapist Magazine, the website. We were watching The Angry Video Game Nerd. But I kid you not, we went through probably 3 different scripts for that first episode of the Chrono Trigger versus time travel episode. And the show in its very first form was just like, hey, Chrono Trigger talks about time travel, but here's a bunch of here's a book you want to read if you want to learn about time travel. Here's, an article online that you want to read about. Here's a movie that you want to watch. So completely different from the theories that we do today. Hey, I'm MatPat from the YouTube series Game Theory and Film Theory. I love overanalyzing all your favorite video games, movies, and TV. And I am ready for any questions that you have. Reddit, ask me anything. No, actually. And I know that might sound like a weird answer, but I try to keep a really high threshold of what I will and won't post. And so we addressed it earlier in the AMA, where we'll research for weeks on end to make sure that the episode at the end of the day is saying something interesting or unique or insightful, teaching you something interesting. And if it doesn't kind of match that quality level, I won't go through with it. So there have been episodes that have been fully scripted out where at the end I'll look at it and I'm like, I'm not happy with how this turned out. We either need to rewrite it, find a way to make it work, or just kind of move on to a different topic. So going back, are there episodes that I'm prouder of than others? Absolutely. Are there episodes that I like more than others? Absolutely. But is there an individual episode that I would go back and change and take down? No, I would say not. That's a great question, Fleur de Tots. YouTube actually has been a fantastic partner for Game Lab. They have really been hands-off in a lot of the creative process, which has been fantastic. They've really stepped aside and trusted me as a creator to make the show that I wanted to make. They'll every once in a while add some minor suggestions about things that aren't clear to them, how to make this kind of more understandable to maybe non-gamers, things like that. But for the most part, 99.9% of what you're seeing on that screen is stuff that I was there in the edit room, making sure that every word was correct and every edit was right. So that's very much my show. I would say that if I were to do another season of Game Lab or say Film Lab, one of the things I would first and foremost want to do is make sure that we had more time leading up to the actual shoot. Because of the agreement that we had with YouTube, because of the amount of time that we had to shoot the series, we had a very short pre-production period, which meant we had to find and say yes to a lot of locations and things very quickly, which is fine, and I'm really happy with how the series turned out, but it was also just a lot of work in a very short amount of time. So being able to spread that out over a longer period, I think would be a lot easier for everyone involved. The other thing that I would work to include is just more direct-to-camera takes for you guys. I had the benefit of doing the reality check episodes first with the Rainbow Six Siege video, and that taught me a lot about finding the right balance between a more professional level production with lots of different cameras and people on set versus a YouTube production where it's me in the closet filming for you guys or me in my living room filming a live stream. And I realized that I wanted to break the fourth wall more when I filmed Game Lab and bring you along more frequently for the experience by making jokes to you, by directly addressing you, to make it feel more YouTube-y. And I think Game Lab does a really good job of that, but I would like even more of that if I were to film a future season, because I think it's important. I want you to feel a part of the experience. I want you to feel like, yes, we're filming all this cool stuff, but at the end of the day, we know that you're there. And so addressing you guys and bringing you along for the ride is top priority. So I'd include more of that in a future season. First off, appreciate the username Dr. X Machina, but I would say that, man, there's actually a surprising number. We'll go, weeks or months sometimes thinking about a theory, researching it, and eventually have to let it go simply because we're not able to say something interesting about it. In order to maintain kind of like a high quality of video and a high quality of theory, we always want to make sure that there's enough research and enough thought put into it that it's like, hey, this is something that is mind-blowing, or this is changing the way I look at this franchise, as opposed to releasing something that's half researched and that either I or one of the other people who work on the team can spot all the holes in. So we always try to kind of sew up all those holes as many holes as possible, and if it's not possible, then we just don't release the episode. I would say maybe probably once a month, we're throwing out a theory that we've researched, that we were really wanting to do and just didn't quite work out the way we had hoped. Hardest one to have thrown away, that I hope we're able to salvage one of these days, is the relationship between Peach and Pauline from the Mario series. So if you look back at the original Donkey Kong games, you rescue a princess named Pauline, who wears pink and has kind of orangish yellow hair. She looks a lot like Princess Peach does nowadays. And then when you move to the first ever Mario Brothers game, Super Mario Brothers, you're rescuing Princess Toadstool, who has dark red, kind of bright orange hair, which doesn't look anything like Pauline and doesn't look like Princess Peach today. So I had this theory where Pauline is the current day Peach and this Princess Toadstool is someone completely different. I tried every which way, every scientific angle that I could to make it work. It just hasn't. Maybe one day in the future, but that was by far the hardest one that I let go because I literally worked on it for probably 2 weeks straight and just didn't happen. Reddit, thank you so much for your questions today. Thank you to all the loyal theorists who showed up. And remember, that's just an AMA, a Reddit AMA. Thanks for asking questions.